Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 2012 inductee to the Hall of Fame of Missourians, Limbaugh.
Thank you very much. I'm stunned. I'm not speechless, but close to it. I'm literally quite unable to comprehend what's happening to me today. This is something I never, ever considered that would happen to me. As I'm listening to this list of qualifications or resume recitation, I'm reminded of why I'm here. You know, we're all products of our families. Families define us, determine so much about us. And there are so many in my family that far more deserve to be standing up here today than I do. They have been supported throughout every aspect of my life when it veered away from what the family direction was. Our family is, for the most part, attorneys. There are some exceptions, and I'm one. I'm the only member of my family that did not go to college. Well, I went, but I didn't graduate. It was ballroom dance taught by a drill sergeant at WAC that finally drove me out. But I knew what I wanted to do when I was 8, 10, 12 years old. I didn't like school. I hated it. I literally didn't like it. And I'd get up every morning, getting ready for it, feeling I was heading off to prison. My mother had a radio on. The guy on the radio sounded like he was having fun. I knew that wasn't in my day, so I wanted to do what he was doing. And my father made it possible, because it was the first thing in my life I kind of quit. I was a tenderfoot Boy Scout for a year. You know what that takes? Nothing. I literally did not stick to anything in my piano lessons, whatever it was. I didn't stick to it, but throughout it all, every member of my family was there supporting me. When I started the radio, none of them understood the value and the future in playing Donny Osmond records. And where is this going to take us? A very educated, very dignified family with a pedigree in law. And in many families, someone like me would have been discarded because he was an embarrassment. Somebody like me would have been ignored or thrown aside because, well, we tried, we gave it our best shot. And my father sat me down and told me what was going to happen to me if I didn't go to college. And it was quite instructive to remember it. This is 1969. He said, you're not going to be able to maintain the social standing you used to, that you have here with your friends. Your friends are going to abandon you because you're not going to be interesting to them. You're never going to find a decent girl to marry because who wants, now listen to this. This is who wants to find, what woman wants to marry a man that can't support? And I wasn't going to be able to do that. And he still did not succeed in deterring me away from my dreams as radio. And for the longest time, he felt like a failure as a father. His formative experience, the Great Depression. The Great Depression, I didn't live through. My brother didn't live through. But we heard about it. But all we could do was hear about it. We're pretty close to one now, so we kind of got that. But his formative experience in life was you've got to go to college, you have to get a degree, you have to get a job, and when you get a job, you thank your employer every day, and whatever he tells you it is. And I was ignoring all that. And he felt like a total failure. He didn't understand radio, even though doing that hadn't quit. He had hearing problems, so you never really hear me on the radio. So he didn't understand it. Throughout all the ups and downs, I remember the first time I got fired, I had to call and tell him. And the way he spoke to me on the phone was as though that was it. My life was over. You get fired, everybody knows it, you're stigmatized, and that's the end. But through all of the 7 or 8 firings, it didn't matter how he felt, he always was able to subordinate that and not try to take my dream away from me. He brought it all on himself, made himself out to be the failure. My family has supported me through every up and down, through no fault of their own. I have brought all kinds of attention to them that I'm sure they never intended to plan on. And it's not enough that I know how to put up with it. It's not something they bargained for, but they've been right there supporting me throughout all of this. Never once have I heard one critical thing asking me to stop or change what I'm doing because of any damage I might be incurring to the family. And I think that one of the aspects of my family that I have absorbed as I'm listening to Peter and the speaker go through periods of time in my career, I had the time I was a little, to be honest, stunned because I don't remember much of it. Because every day I have to get up and do it again. I don't have too much will. Did you ever go to bed at night, family's on the bed, lights are dimmed, you pour yourself an adult beverage, you ever stop and think what you mean to your readers? He looked at me and frowned as we had no concept of what I was asking. He said, I don't know what you mean. I said, look, you have to know a lot of people don't form any opinions, so they read you. He said, look, I'm too busy worrying what I have to do tomorrow. I don't look back. I don't think about any of that. And I didn't know what he meant. I thought, how can it be possible for somebody like George? And I asked Mr. Buckley the same thing when I met him. I found all of these people, one of the greatest perks of my career is being able to meet some of the people best at what they do. And the traits that they all have are never satisfied with what they do, and they're always looking at tomorrow, and whatever they did today can always be better tomorrow. Never satisfied with it. And that's me. And going through this litany of things, and I'm not trying to be false in my humility here, but humility is something that all of us in our family were trained in. It was something that was drilled into us. We're no better than anybody else. In fact, most people are better than you are. You better get used to it and understand it. It's humility, keeping everything in perspective and not getting lost. Because life is too full of ups and downs, and if you believe all the stuff that's happening when things are going great, you're going to have a tough time when the bottom falls out in managing the different levels. And my family is singularly responsible for me being here today, being so honored as I am today. And I hope, my dream's always been that throughout my life that many more members of my family become known and it's understood about them that they are as deserving, if not more so than I am of this. Because you can't replace your family, you can't change them. And my family, the best family being from Missouri, somebody once asked me, what do you think would happen to you, your radio show, if you'd been born in the Northeast or the West Coast? I actually think, being born in Missouri, there is something to this Western cultural belt. There's something to it. Something really substantive about having it. I remember when I moved to New York in 1988, and I'm 47 years old. Whatever it was, I didn't know the concept of second home. Where we grew up in New York, if you lived there year round, maybe one family had a summer home in Michigan. We didn't have a summer home. Didn't understand this, going to the Hamptons in the summertime, going to Florida in the wintertime. We just lived where we lived. And the cultural values that came from that, I think, shaped me and gave me a grounding and an anchor that has kept me from falling prey to some of the temptations that I particularly needed. So I look back on my life being 61 years old, family I have irreplaceable, couldn't have hoped for one better, the support that they all had, the friends I've made over the course of my life, and the support that I've got from all of them. And now I'm standing here only there was a chance. I really wanted to unload. I can unload here and take advantage of the opportunity. But I won't. I just want to thank everybody for making this possible. I want to express my deep gratitude on my behalf and for everybody in my family for this honor. Because it's really to all of us, and we are exceptionally proud to accept it and extremely humble. Thank you all very much. speaker when he announces, and I'm sure many of you in the room, you're sharing it, but the speaker's office and people in his office and the speaker himself have been under assault for wanting to do this. And believe me, it's easy to say, you know what, Rush, be better off we try this somewhere. He didn't do that. He hung in. It was tough. He did not give them any quarter. Laughed at them when they called his office, which is what you have to do, because they're deranged. And literally they're deranged. Our friends, so-called friends on the other side of the aisle are deranged. Just for my family. Now forget I'm here. But he stood up to it, and in fact, enjoyed it, threw it right back at him. So I want to thank you for that good.
Before we unveil the bus, I want to, one other thing to my caucus, immediately upon unveiling the bus, if you could go to hearing room 3. Rush has agreed to visit with us for a short time, and so I know I certainly appreciate that. Let's see this bus.
This is better than the bus to the National Football League Hall of Fame.
Beautiful.
Can we bring Rush's family up here?
Family.